Hey there, it's Wednesday, November 9th, 2022. I'm at the Wildhorse Casino just outside of Pendleton, Oregon. It's in Mission, Oregon. My name's Chris Rich. I'm a Christian and I'm also a poker player. I'm here for the Fall Poker Roundup. It's an 11-day tournament event schedule with 9 different events. This is event 6 today. It's the first time I could make it here this go-round. Scheduling conflicts just didn't allow me to get here any earlier. Today's event is a senior event. It's a 50-plus event, and this is the first time I'll be able to play in that event. So I'm a little excited about that. My very first ever senior event. I'd love to win it, of course. My schedule for this run is I will be here today. However I do, or depending on how I do today, I will either come tomorrow or take the day off. If I come tomorrow, I'll play in a cash game. If I don't come tomorrow, I'll just rest up, and then I will play on Friday. I'll rest up for Friday, where I'll come and play in a cash game again. And then on Saturday, it's the main event, $500 buy-in. Main event. It's a 2-day event. If you make it to the money, you go into day 2. If you don't make it to the money, you don't go into day 2. So that'll be on Sunday. So hopefully, looking forward to playing in that, and hopefully I do well in that. So looking at Wednesday, Thursday, iffy, Friday, Saturday, and hopefully Sunday will be my run. So, last time I talked about sitting down and having dinner with this guy, quite a bit older than me, and we had a really good discussion. What you didn't get was the next day how I did in the tournament, and just an interesting little thing about that guy. So the interesting thing is, that guy happened to be the guy that sat immediately to my left in the tournament. And if you don't know anything about tournaments, you don't actually pick your seat. You draw for seats and you end up with whatever seat you get. So it's kind of very interesting coincidence that this guy ended up directly to my left when we sat down and started the tournament. And we're talking starting the tournament with 350 plus people. So out of all those people, he just happened to be the one. So we played for quite a while. With him on my left, several hours before I actually ended up moving to a different table. I ended up getting in a conversation with a guy that sat to my right, sat and talked with him for a while. We were back and forth. Then he asked me what I did for work. I told him I was an economist. He asked me how I got involved in that, and that led me into talking to him about God and how God really developed that in my life, how I was on a different path. I was in college to study mathematics, to be a math teacher, and God changed some things up, made some difficult, put some difficult decisions before me, to where in my very last year of college, my 5th year, because the math program was a 5-year program, in my 5th year, I basically ended up changing my course, becoming an economist, or studying economics. And then when I got out, I got a job as an economist, which has turned into a great job. So I did profess my Christianity there. What led into that was the conversation, and more specifically about my job and how I was led there by God. This is important because when I got moved to another table, I was ready for this. I have recognized that this was a great place to introduce God in my life to other people. And so when I got moved to another table and I sat directly to the right of the dealer, the half of the table that I was on, everybody was conversing with each other and just having a good time. And somewhere in there, it was brought up, this one guy's son going to college and what he's studying, and business is what he's studying. And I mentioned economics, and I mentioned that, me not having been my path originally, or my thought process of when I went to college, and that how God moved me in that direction and put obstacles and open doors as well in my path to put me in that position. So I was able in 2 instances in that tournament to basically profess to the table that I was a Christian. In one instance, I know that at least 4 other people heard me. In the other table, I know that one person heard me, hopefully the guy on my left that I had talked to yesterday, or the day before, heard me as well. And and I was loud enough and open enough that it could have been heard by other people at the table as well. So a couple times professing about my Christianity. And before I move on, let me say that that is where I want you to focus, or what I want you to draw out from this talk, is to try to recognize these spots that can lead you to talk about how God has moved in your life, right? So this was just a regular conversation, or regular question in a conversation. Oh, hey, what do you do for work? And I could have just been like, oh, I'm an economist, and dropped it there. But what I did was recognize in this instance how God put me through that, how God moved in my life to direct that path, and I was able to at least just share that this was a God thing. And so what I'm saying here is to try to, and this is my path now, part of my evolving in conversing with people and trying to find those spots about conversing about Christianity, about Jesus, is to recognize in questions, in conversation, what questions come up often, and how can you introduce God in that, not from a fake perspective, but how can you recognize how God moved in your life in that time, what he did to put you in those positions, or how he influenced you, or how thoughts of him influenced you, so that you can bring that up in the conversation in a natural way to say, hey, that God is part of my life, and let me share that with you. So that's what I'm putting before you as the next step, as my next step. As I've talked before in the past, just conversation and stepping out like this is a really big obstacle for me. And so I'm documenting that process, and I'm sharing it with you. And I'm hoping that we can all learn from this and better our ability to share God and Christianity and Jesus with just people out there in the world, and see where that leads. So let me say before I go, what I wanted to say about the rest of that conversation. The interesting thing about that guy is now when we were nearing the bubble, the money bubble, I got moved to a different table, and I sat down, and the guy immediately to my right that I sat next to was that old guy that I had been talking to before at dinner, that I had sat for several hours with at the beginning of the tournament. And now he was directly to my right. We both ended up making the money. He several hands after we made the money, I actually was the guy that knocked him out of the tournament. He left with good spirits. We said we hoped we'd see each other again. It just proved to be a nice time and some interesting coincidence. So how did I do in the tournament overall? Well, I made ninth, which was very good. I can't remember exactly what the payout was, but it was over $2,000. So it was a good payout. You can look it up. You can look me up on the Hendon Mob website if you want, Christopher Rich, and just follow me and my tournament exploits there. I've only got 2 tournaments listed there at this point. So hopefully I can go in there today, and I can focus. I can go in there with good attitude. I can remember where I'm at and who has me here, which is God, put me in this mission field. I can remember hopefully what this is about, and where the number one focus should be. Maintain my composure and my wits, and just have a good time trying to get in there and share the gospel with people. And hopefully I come out a winner in the senior event. That would be awesome to win my first senior event ever. So I want to say God bless you all. Thanks for listening to me, and have a great day.